In this video, we're going to be looking at avatars, and avatars are interesting because, they're images essentially, but they're specific kind of not images, although, yeah, anyways, they are used for mainly like profiles or when you're in a chat. If you ever use Microsoft Teams, you have a bunch of, the people's profile pictures being brought in most likely from their Skype, Outlook, however that stuff gets set. And so it's just a way of visually showing you who's in the chat with you. Facebook is the same way. When you have the messenger, you have the avatars to the left with the pictures and then the names to the right. If you open up your phone, if you've set, people's pictures, even if you haven't, if it's just like, the first and last letter, you will have that as an avatar on the left side of your phone, and on the right side is, their name, number, or whatever information. Avatars are powerful because we don't always look for text right away. We look at, I think, colors and then shapes afterward. And so it's just a nice guide for the eye of where to look and where to go, because you don't always want a page of just text after text after text. That sucks. And so what we're going to do is look at the docs, how to use these avatars. They're pretty cool. I just like the page for avatars. I think it's very well shown how to use them. And then we're going to have some fun and code stuff. So let's get to the docs. It says the avatar component is used to represent a user and displays the profile picture, initials, or fallback icon. And one thing I want to point out is I do like that about Chakra. They provide a lot of fallback support, which means less code for you, less confusion. You don't have like a switch statement of renders popping out or any other stuff like that. And I think that's cool. And so we have three things coming in here. We have the avatar badge, and then the group. And so the avatar, the image that represents the user, we already know this. The badge, a wrapper that displays its content on the right corner of the avatar. So we're going to see what that's about. And then we have a wrapper for the avatar group, a wrapper to stack multiple avatars together, which you will need to if you have a lot of people entering a chat. And so we have the wrap and the wrap item. And this is not 1,000% necessary. And I know it's kind of cumbersome, and they probably could have done this with like 3 examples, so it's not just this repeating over and over. But what I want you to notice, yes, it's in a line here, but these are the lines I want you to focus on. So let's take the avatar name, Dan Abramov. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that and you're seeing this, or anyone actually knows how to pronounce it, but Dan Abramov, and it's pulling its source in right here. And it's that easy. You get this cool picture of him looking to his right. You give it a name, and then you have, your source, and then you just kind of follow suit going down the line here. And it's that easy. And you can have multiple sizes as well. So it comes in 7 sizes. So a lot of things are like small, medium, large. And you'd be like, why do avatars need to be different sized? And the reason for that is, what if you're talking and you need to make the avatar bigger, right? So you have some kind of chat app and you need to, when someone is speaking, make their picture larger so it's easier to distinguish who's chatting, right? And so, once again, a lot of wrap items. This is a little busy in here, but we have this 2 extra small, which is, he shrunk. It was like, honey, I shrunk the kids. I'm probably telling you how old I am. So Dan up here got really, 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 really small. And assuming that avatar, everything else is going to be the same, we go to 2XL up here. So it goes from 2 extra small to 2XL. So that means we have 2 extra small, small, medium, large, XL, and 2XL. Just in case you need all those varying sizes there. Or maybe you have an application and you have someone, that needs to, the extra small or 2XS is maybe a little too small. I don't know. And you want your users to be able to expand or make these avatars larger in size. I know I would. And so maybe you could have, something in your configuration of your application to say, make the avatars larger. And so we have these fallbacks as well. And so it says, if there's an error loading the avatar, there are 2 fallbacks. If there's a name prop, we use it to generate the initials and a random accessible background color. which makes, sense. As long as it's accessible, that's fine. If there's no name prop, we use a default avatar. So we have Oshigaki Kisame. I'm probably butchered that, but we have O and K. And so we have O and K, and it's blue. Nothing's telling it that it's blue, like we're not. It's just generating itself. So we could just forget, right? We have this one Sasuke Uchiha, I believe. And so it's just S and U. And it's just maroon red background color here. Once again, we're not telling it to. It's just doing that for us. So that's one last thing we don't have to think about. And then we have an avatar, which doesn't have a name. It's providing, with this broken link, obviously this is not going to work. And it's just this general, bust of a person. And that still looks great. It's not maybe the color scheme we want for all three of these, but for a default solution out of the box, it's not a bad thing that it gives you. But if you want to customize the fallback avatar, you could do that. And so it says you could customize the background color of an icon and the fallback avatar to match your design requirements. So thinking ahead here, if you want to go ahead and do that, they have an avatar group right here. So it's grouping these things together. So it's applying the spacing down below to these. And so we could do the background is red 500. And then we could also change the icon we want to. So notice it's not like this guy and this guy or gal match. But this icon is distinctly different. And that's because even though we're not providing the name or any of the other stuff, avatar right here is essentially in default mode. And when we give it any of these style props, it overrides that default. Simple enough. It's just like in line right there. So we're overriding whatever parental CSS that's being applied. And we give it a badge. I know we talked about badges earlier. It's been a while, so we're kind of circling around now. But it says in some products, you may need to show a badge in the right corner. And we call this a badge. So someone's online, someone's away. Those things are helpful. Maybe you need to ping someone and say, hey, could you help me with my, chakra code? Or maybe, you use this for something, they've been online in the past 15 minutes, or they've recently, done something, right? They're at their computer. And so what we do is we'd have the avatar badge here, and we would nest it inside of the avatar itself. And so we would have an open and closing components right here, or tags, I should say. And in there, we could just nest the avatar badge, give it its size, and say what color we want. And down below, we're doing the same thing here. And it says you can also change the border color of it. So the border color is Papaya Whip, and you can't really see it here. You kind of have to go to the website. But there's this very light, very white, but slightly orange aura around this right here. I would have personally went with a black or something that really stands out, because it's a bright on bright color and they have white around it. But still, these avatar badges you could customize like anything else. So avatar groups specifically. In some cases, you may need to stack avatars as a group. We're going to use avatar group for that. And we could limit the amount of avatars to show, which is cool. We could use the max prop. And then we could size things. So basically, we've done this before. We've seen this with groups. You could size, and then it gets, permeated all the way down. But you could have a max 2 right here. So if I wanted to come in and do a max 3, now we have the OG Kent Dodds right in here. And if I wanted to do, 4, I could do 4. And if I wanted to do 1, I would just show Ryan Florence right here. And this is really cool because it gives you a way, maybe you're on different screen sizes on mobile. You may want to show 2 or 3. Maybe if you're on a Mondo super wide desktop, maybe it's 10 or 12, depending on how wide the screen is. So that's a really cool feature they give you right there. That could be hours of coding yourself, hours of CSS, JavaScript, what have you. And this is out of the box. This is it. And I think that is super cool as a tool, right? This, anytime you say, wow, you think to yourself, is this kind of a gimmick thing? And I'm going to get, over it. But when you look at something like this, just think the work it would take for this to appear, and then the code you and your team would have to write and maintain to do something dynamically like this. Like, you don't want to do that. You just want to slap stuff on your app and then go. And so we have, changing initials logic. So they added the get initials prop to allow users to manage how their initials are generated. By default, we merge the first characters of each word as the name prop in here. And so if you want to look into the get initials down below in the props here, feel free to do so. I think your first and your last initial is super, super, super standard here. And so feel free to look around, play with these. There's a lot you could do with avatars, a lot of fun. But I find fun in coding, so let's get to coding. All right, in this first example of, I believe, 3 here, or 2, it all depends. I'm looking at my snippets off the screen here, and sometimes I format them interestingly. So let's just go ahead and make a basic avatar, or avatars, because I have a couple here, and we'll explain them afterward, or I will. So let's do it. So when we bring this in right here, we can see we have 2 avatars. The first one at the top is Bernie. Looks a little off-center down here, but with some styling, you can fix that. But we have this size large avatar. We're bringing in Bernie from here. And as you saw me typing, I have this other folder of just cute pictures of him. And so we have this right here. We have Bernie. The size is large. If I wanted to change this, let's see what other sizes we have available. You can see we could do 2 extra small, which makes that very tiny, or 2XL and make my dog super gigantic right here. And then this is just a photo, but as you can see the source right here, I'm using a tiny URL, and this is my symbol logo for my channel. Hopefully y'all have subscribed by now. And we have some text below. Once again, this isn't all centered up in a line. You're probably going to want to put this in some kind of layout component to make it all spiffy and look nice together. But this is one of the ways you could use avatars. And the next one, we're going to be looking at avatar badges, groups, and some other really interesting things we could do with them. So I'll see y'all in just a moment. Alrighty, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and first add an avatar badge in here. So an avatar badge is a very, very, very simple thing to add. We just come in and simply do this. So I'm going to keep both of these at 2XL, which I think is handy because it makes everything a bit more visible. But we, rather than close off the avatar, which we had originally, let me space this out just because we know there's text below and it has really nothing to do with the avatar. We have this avatar, everything's the same. Now we have this badge. I think I copied these styles from somewhere and made it green to show, it's typically such and such is online. And we enclose the badge in this outer component avatar here, and we could see we get this effect that shows that they're online. Now, if I wanted to do something like, I think yellow 300 is a color, maybe they're away, right? And so now if you're having some kind of messaging system, say like Skype, well, Skype's not that great, but if you had Zoom or whatever it is you wanted to, if there's been no activity, you could, use the colors to toggle. Are they away? Are they in a meeting? What's going on with them, which I think is pretty interesting. So now that we've seen this, let's do something that I think is pretty cool here. And let me show you an avatar group. So let me go ahead and get rid of the second box right here. So this doesn't look that great, and sorry about that little error. Sometimes my plugin that controls, you know, if I change one tag, it'll change the other. Sometimes it gets a little funky. But now that we have one box, let's come in here and add an avatar group and see what it does. And what we're going to do is we're going to take away the text, because I think that'll be way more useful to us. So all we have is avatar group, and then our original avatars, and then the badges. So what does this do when we hit save? It slaps them together, which I think is pretty interesting right here. So if we wanted to, we could come up here to avatar group and do max and we have a +1. Let's say we wanted to allow, you know, 5. Well, I could come in here and I could add another avatar. I'll just copy and paste this one. And now we have all this right here, which I think is pretty cool as well. And this is one way that you could, you know, take your avatars and, once again, simple stuff like this. But this could take you a little bit, you know, especially if you're not as skilled at CSS, or maybe you are skilled, but you're like, why is this frustratingly not working? Just little stuff like this the library gives you to take really cool concepts and ideas and not only show them stylistically, but also organize them in a very meaningful, cohesive type of way. So if you liked what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe, all that other jazz, and I'll see y'all in the next video.